Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Thomas Fross here with Fross and Fross Wealth Management, where we attempt to be the voice of reason in a world full of the pundits of pessimism and the wall of worry. As always, please make sure you read the disclosures that were attached to this video, or if you happen to be watching on social media, simply go to www.frossandfross.com and read any of the disclosures that you might find therein. So first of all, let me be the first to welcome you to 2023. I literally never thought 2022 would ever end. You know, every January it's customary to look back at the year that was, and there were so many things that happened. But when I ask myself, what did I learn in 2022? Well, there are three events that jump out. That would be the war in Ukraine, the Fed's aggressive interest rate hikes, and the World Cup. All three have something in common, and all three provide an important lesson that we as investors should remember and learn from: the importance of being adaptable. Now, let's start with taking a look at the war in the Ukraine. When the war began, most people expected Kiev would fall quickly, but as we know, that's not what happened. Instead, the war transformed ordinary Ukrainians into civilian defenders, with citizens from all walks of life shifting into wartime mode as in defense of their country. One day, many Ukrainians were just average citizens. They're simply going about their daily lives. But when their country was invaded, what did they do? That's right, they adapted. It's easy to forget, but in early 2022, interest rates were barely above zero as the Fed continued trying to stimulate the post-COVID economy by keeping interest rates artificially low. Unfortunately, inflation was ramping up. In response, the Federal Reserve decided that it was time to raise interest rates, starting with a 0.25% hike in March. Now, the future didn't work out quite as the experts had predicted. Inflation continued to rise, and the Fed had to adopt a much more aggressive approach. By the end of this year, interest rates rose to 4.5%. The point is that the Fed had the goal to reduce inflation, and their original plan, raising rates just a little at a time, wasn't working. So what did they do? Once again, they adapted. The result? Finally, in December, we saw a little bit of evidence that inflation has begun to cool, albeit just a little bit, but it's began to cool. Now let's talk about the World Cup. When the World Cup began in November, Argentina was one of the favorites to win the trophy. They were the third-ranked nation in the world, so everyone expected them to steamroll their first opponent who happened to be Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia was ranked number 51 in the world, 48 spots lower than Argentina. They were the lowest ranked team to participate in the World Cup. Now, even if you don't follow soccer, you probably saw the news when the unthinkable happened. Saudi Arabia defeated Argentina. Well, you can probably guess what Argentina did next. That's right, they adapted. Flexibility helped Argentina adapt to challenges, and they went on to win the World Cup. So as you can see, all these events highlight situations in which participants were willing to adjust what they were doing based on the reality around them. So if there's one lesson that I think we take away from 2022, it's this: the importance of adapting. The fact is, life will always throw curveballs at us, which means we have to be flexible. We have to adapt. Now, fortunately, most of us will never have to make nationwide decisions like the Federal Reserve. None of us will have the pressure that comes with trying to win the World Cup. But as investors, we will face times when we must reassess what we're doing. Times when we must adjust our expectations, adjust our mindset and our vision. If we can do that, then setbacks become merely temporary pauses. Obstacles become just a chance to catch our breath. And uncertainty can bring opportunity. At Fross and Fross Wealth Management, we consider helping you adapt to life's curveballs as one of the most important parts of our job. And while we don't know exactly what 2023 will bring, whatever does happen, we will always be here to help you adapt and keep helping you move forward. As always, thank you for the trust that you've placed in us over the last year. We can't wait to continue serving you in a new year. So on behalf of all of us at Fross and Fross Wealth Management, here is to a happy, healthy, and hopefully prosperous 2023. Have a wonderful day.